Bro, I heard if you go to inkgaming.com and use the Wiseguys TCG10 as a coupon code, you get a discount, fam. I see you. What's going on, guys? It's Greg Farley from the Wiseguys, aka Pegasus. Appreciate you guys tuning in. This is a little bit of a different video because we wanted to kind of help players out there get better. This idea, the player's card, not that player's card, but the other player card, where we basically wanted to help people get better in the Kansas City area. But now I'm trying to help people that are either my viewers, still in the Kansas City area, outside the Kansas City area, everybody all around, even on other channels. You know, shout out to Triff. He said he'd be down and kind of being a part of this as well as Slim, Yugioh, a few other channels. Basically, what this is a way to help people get better. The idea came from Daniel Scott and Nico Smith. A lot of you guys know Nico. Daniel is also well known for Cyber Dragons, but Nico is a pretty well known player. He's since retired, but we're going to talk specifically about the categories that can help a player qualify themselves, see where they stand, as well as your teammates. So this may also, if you have your own team out there, you can kind of measure each other, keep it honest, don't try to pick at each other, but really try to see where you can get better. Without further ado, let's get into these categories. Now, in that first category, we have luck. Now, luck basically breaks down how lucky are you in a prospective game. If you're very, very lucky, if you always seem to top deck your way out of stuff, sometimes it has to tie into something else, which we'll get to. But luck definitely, sometimes people are just lucky, man. You know what I'm talking about, where you can ask somebody dead to rights and you say literally all you can draw is this, and that person more often than not tends to draw that card that they specifically need. It happens, man. That's Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is like 80% luck anyway. But 20% of that skill, you better be really honed in on it. You better be really on point. I think card knowledge is the next category, and card knowledge is your knowledge of the entire library of Yu-Gi-Oh! Period. So sometimes a person may, I'm not that good at this, but a person may know exactly what a card does off the top of their head. A lot of times I have to look online myself, so I'm not the sharpest one on this one, but I do know about certain texts. So where I can be strong in one area of knowing, having card knowledge and not having it, I can be strong in one area and be weak in another. So that's that one. You know, that's a little bit of a strange category, but I think that's the best way that I can break it down. Next up, we got time management. Time management is your ability, especially with these new time rules. It's since changed since I made this first version of the card, so I kind of adjusted it as well as I adjusted a lot of people's to kind of keep up with the current times, because this is a little bit of an older idea. But time management is how you do in relation to time. Do you get frustrated with time a lot? Do you feel mad about, mad as hell at Konami every time you run into the time issue? Or do you take advantage of it? Or do you never go into time? Some people just get people out of there and it's over quickly. A lot of times, if you're thinking too long, you're not that good at time management. That's just kind of what it is. I'm one of those people, but if you don't try to work towards working that away, that's just like life. You got to work towards getting better at something. You have to work towards wiping something away that's a weakness. That was one of mine. Definitely was one of mine. I think next up we have tilt ability. Now this is one where, based off of my background and what I do, whether it's for a living, whether it's for other hobbies that I have, mine, I'm a social worker. So my job is to know people backwards and forwards. I work directly with youth that had issues, teenagers with a lot of bad issues. I worked with adults as well. My job is to know people. So I know what can get to somebody and what can't get to somebody. I also play poker as another hobby. I'm decent at Hold'em. I'm not going to say I'm like championship level. I haven't been at the World Series of Poker yet. But I know what tilt is. Tilt isn't quite as strong in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because a lot of times the cards just take over and you can't really tilt someone. But I have seen someone that's good enough to throw people off their game. I know you guys have all played somebody that's super duper nice 1 second and then they're a jackass the next. That's probably me. I'm just keeping it real with you. I'm not like that I'm not like that outside of the game, but sometimes people master that at a YCS level. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not the only one. Where somebody can be a jerk and then they're nice when they win, or somebody can be super duper nice and it throw you off, and then they're super duper nice again. That's kind of that tilt ability, the ability to get your opponent off of their game. But sometimes in Yu-Gi-Oh, you just can't get somebody off of their game if the cards are falling too well, just like poker, but more so in Yu-Gi-Oh, you can throw somebody completely off. So that's the category that I thought it had to be introduced, and it had to be a part of this because it's really, really important. Next category is deck building. Deck building is the most important thing in Yu-Gi-Oh. I really feel like that. I feel like everybody that's a top level player should feel like that. Testing is really, really important. I myself, I don't think I'm that great of a deck builder, but I know I'm a damn good pilot. So, and that's going to come up in a second. Now, with deck building specifically, it correlates to exactly how you build your decks and how competitive they are, how quickly. So, I may say, hey, what do you think about this pendulum card or this pendulum card if I'm playing pendulum versus a deck like Cosmo? I know that deck backwards, forwards, and I know how to turn it around. I know how to make it competitive right now. I'm working on that, trust me. And then I know how to pick up other decks. Where my thing is when I get a new deck, like let's say Fire Fist. I want to learn Fire Fist right now. I've never played Fire Fist in my life. I kind of have a hard time picking it up. So this is all kind of maintain this with you and where you think you would rank. I'm not super duper great at building a deck that I've never seen before. A lot of people can look at what is this deck's strength, where does it have its weakness at, what can I do to maintain what the deck does, how can I help this deck get better. I'm not that good at building stuff like that. So that's just me. You have to be honest with yourself. Don't be a jackass and give yourself all 10s. One being horrible, 10 being great. Don't give yourself all 10s because you're not going to help yourself. But deck building is extremely important, and I feel like if you're a really good deck builder, odds are you're a damn good player. But some people, they just don't have that ability to deck build. I think I'm one of those people. Next up is error competency rate. This is where I think a good pilot, that's the quickest way I can break this down. A good pilot can play anything. If you teach them what is the objective, they can get to the objective over and over and over again. I myself, I'm not tooting my own horn. I really feel like I'm not that great of a deck builder, but if you built it for me, you tell me what the objective is, and you show me, hey, this is what this deck can do, and it can do it damn good, I can pick it up like that. That's what I just did with Pendulum. Sky Striker, once I really figured it out, besides screwing up at Nats. Dumbass. And then also error competency rate is your ability to not make mistakes. So your ability to pilot a deck and not make mistakes. So that's all one big conglomerate of a subject right there that I feel has to be a category on this card, and as well as Daniel and Nico thought as well. This is a really, really awesome idea that helps a player get better. So I'm really hoping that people really take this into account. And we had a lot of feedback on this with a lot of different people, a few YouTubers, a lot of teammates, so we'll kind of have these running as I'm talking. But next up was tilt endurance. Tilt endurance is your ability to not get tilted. So I'm not just talking about person to person, the ability to not have someone piss you off. That's part of it. But the tilt endurance thing is not throwing yourself off for the rest of the day because you lost one match. If you have a high number on this, then you can stomach, I got gypped that whole round. I got screwed that whole round. There's nothing I could do. I'm just going to get over it and keep going. My number is not that high on this one because, sometimes you get kind of pissed off during the day, especially when you're like I have anxiety. So when I get in a big event like that and I'm running well and then I get screwed by something that it was beyond my control, a lot of people don't know how to let that go. I'm kind of in the middle where sometimes I can shrug it off. Sometimes I'm like, man, giving an example of something I couldn't shake off, like YCS Anaheim a couple years ago. You guys remember Toad Hero format. I got screwed. Basically, a judge said that my shadow mist was marked. Shadow Mist. Just gonna let that sink in. He said that a Shadow Mist was marked, and then the Regeki I had, which I've had since the game begun, when LOB, I literally pulled it out of LOB and have been playing it in my decks ever since. Literally. And he said that I was trying to cheat with that, and I was trying to cheat with a Shadow Mist. Now, the part that pisses me off about Shadow Mist, not to talk about myself too much on this, but the part that pisses me off about Shadow Mist is it's a freaking Shadow Mist. I almost slipped up and cussed right there. It's a Shadow Mist, the most searchable warrior in the history of the game. Really the most searchable card in the history of the game. During hero format, that means it was 3 Rota, it was 3 E-Call. You couldn't not draw the card. And why would I want it? If I wanted to cheat, I would have cheated with something that was better than that, don't you think? No. It just is what it is, and it really threw my whole day off. I was 6-1. Then I was 7 and I was 6-2, and then I was 6-3 because I was thrown out. Like the next 2 matches, I was like I had to scramble around, find a Shadow Mist, run over to this side of the room, pick one up from a vendor, run over here and grab a Regeki. Got back, lost a round, another game, so I lost the entire round, and then I was ticked off the rest of the day because nobody told me that. So that's where I'm saying your ability to handle all that stuff in a big event, you have to be prepared in these big events to have your cards backwards and forwards, know that they're all the correct printing. Nobody can say anything to you about the cards. You know all your cards. You have all your translations. These are the things that all work into tilt endurance in Yu-Gi-Oh! Your ability to not get tilted. And even if you get screwed, you still got to shrug it off and keep it rolling. Last but not least is versatility. Versatility is very, very important to certain players. Some players, this is my thing. Okay. This is very, very important. When you have a player, whether you're a meta player or a casual player, you have to keep it really freaking honest with yourself, whether you're going to be meta or you're going to be casual. If you're a meta player, cool. That means you want to win. I'm the type that I want to win. I want to win, 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 win. Let's play that song in the background. Win, win, win. You want to win all the time. I used to play casual decks, and sometimes, and this is really golden information, trust me on this. Trust me on this because I've had people help me with this. Awesome players in Kansas City have helped me with this. If you're casual, you cannot expect Madolche to beat Salamangreat consistently. It's not going to happen. I promise you it's not going to happen. I can tell you that before you even begin the event. Now, let's think about when I first picked up Madolche. I love Madolche to death. And then El Shaddai Winda came out, and every dream of me ever playing that deck ended because normal summon Cat, special summon Angeli, my turn was over completely. Pick your cards up, it was over because they just drop Winda, and then they'd kill me on my turn. You have to be honest with yourself about, is this versatile? Can I play this? Now you can play the deck. You can play that deck and do very well with it, but is it going to win? Is it? Be honest with yourself. Truly be honest with yourself. Every once in a while we have a rogue deck. Mech Knight Invoked is one of the best ones to give you an example of that, or Cyber Dragon or something like that, where that rogue deck could come in, knock everybody smooth out, and then leave. Period. But it has to have an angle. Now, where versatility comes in, and that's where this category is your ability to play different strategies and not just only play rogue, not just only play meta, but the ability to go all the way up and down and play everything. Yes, I love playing Striker, but I get bored with that. Then I like playing I like playing Sky Striker, I like playing Pendulum, I like playing Cosmo, I like playing Infernoids. Your ability to play all these and maybe test one day on Dueling Book and play 6 different decks. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people just want to get online and beat everybody into the ground with Sky Striker or Salamangreat or whatever meta deck that they love. If you're a meta player and you only want to be a meta player, I think your versatility is low. I don't think this category is super duper important unless you want to win. Then you have to qualify yourself, and see where the hell that you stand. If you're a meta player, then you pretty much know everybody's going to be here with the meta deck. let's say full power spiral, everybody was up here. If you weren't playing spiral, you were way to hell down there. If you were playing spiral, you started here, and then every tech took you up that way. I'd say that day in YCS Fort Worth, there were at least, that was the first big YCS that came out, there were at least 90% of the spiral players didn't know what the hell they were doing. I was watching it. And then I was watching somebody like the Khan brothers. They were destroying people with basic stuff. And a lot of people didn't even know about Borreload that day. But there were also people that were playing decks that had no shot. And had they studied correctly, they would have known that. But they wanted to play their rogue strategies. Yes, your rogue strategy can catch on every once in a while. Like I think it was Trickstar that day. Sure, it can catch someone once or twice. But Spiral is going to win. And it's going to win relentlessly and endlessly. And it's not going to be any question about it. That's just how it is. Now, those are all the categories. We're kind of running down all the different players that kind of helped us out. And we appreciate each and every one of them. Shout out to Triff. Yeah, Triff. I was just kind of trolling with him because he doesn't play anything but Pendulum, so we gave him versatility at 1. But like Luck, we were just really just goofing off with him. And really the attack is just kind of trolling your friends or whatever. That's what we kind of troll people on and off with. But, it says I'm the pin guy, are you fucking serious? But yeah, I thought that was really funny. We got Trigger Trey, the homie, the co-founder of the Wiseguys. This is my honest assessment of him. Like, this is me sitting down. I'm not kissing his ass. He's really like that. And that's why the trophy's in his hand in that specific picture. But his favorite type is insects. So, I just left it at that. But his luck is really high. And this is where I think deck building and luck have a lot to do with each other. Because if you're a good deck builder, then your design naturally makes you a lucky person. Just saying. You're not always going to get that lucky. Sometimes your deck building is going to carry you. And good design helps you get lucky later in tournaments. Trust me on that. That goes for anything competitive. If you have a good design, it's going to carry you longer than a poor design will. That's pretty obvious. Trey's card knowledge is really high. His time management is above average. I think 5 is average. 6 would be slightly above average, and 7 and 8 and so on. His tiltability, Trey's a nice, really nice person. Everybody likes him. So I don't think he's that type to even try to tilt anybody like that. Versatility, he can play. I've seen the man play Inzectors. I've seen him play Trap Queens and build his own deck that he made up from the own top of his head and did really well with it. And he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I've seen him kind of get thrown off and it throws off the rest of his day. But when he's on, he's on. Then we got the homies, Matt Roberts, the little homies, the youngest member on the Wiseguys. That's his stuff. Then we got Isaac and Sky, longtime members, low-key co-founders of the team. Couldn't do much without them. You got the homie Kenobi that's also on the channel. He's doing a live stream. As I'm talking right now, he's doing a live stream of him playing Gravekeepers. So he's the type where his versatility is through the roof because he likes to play everything. And it's stuff where, like, I don't want to waste my damn time playing Gravekeepers, but he will. But, like, let's see, his card knowledge is way up there. He can almost name stuff off the top of his head, like, yeah, man, I told you about this card a month ago. And I'll say, yeah, you did kind of tell me about that a month ago. He also has strengths in other areas, as you see, and so on and so forth. But, yeah, his versatility is really high. Not to toot my own horn, this is what a friend of mine did for me. So you saw my old one at the start of the video. This would be me now. I think my deck building has got slightly better, but not a whole lot better, to be honest. My luck is slightly above average, because my deck building is slightly above average, not the best. My card knowledge, I'm not that good at knowing stuff off the top of my head. I'm just keeping it honest. Time management, I'm average at it at best. Sometimes I know how to use it perfectly. Sometimes I piss myself off because I'm like, man, I should have scooped. Man, I should have been a jerk here and not let him get his turn. Stuff like that. My tiltability, I just know how to read people. I'm also a martial artist. I know how to read people in all walks of life. I just know how to. It's just something I was gifted with. I guess that's why I'm on a team. So I feel like I know how to throw people off a little bit. versatility is not a bad thing to be able to tilt someone. Versatility, I really try to stick to my own decks, but every once in a while I like to play old stuff, but I still try to stick with them. So it's barely above average on that. And in my air competency rate, I'm slightly above average pilot. Not to toot my own horn. So you have to be honest with yourself. And shout out to the homie Tanner as well, awesome player on my team. Blake, so on and so forth, all the way down the list. These guys are my close friends, my teammates. That's basically it, man. So I've been talking for a long time. I'll probably warn you out, but this is just a cool idea brought by Daniel and Nico several years ago. Shout out to them for the idea. And that was basically it. This is basically to help people get better. So if you want to, in the comments, rate yourself. If you want us to make one for you, send one out to you, let us know. We're trying to get everybody to kind of use this and kind of measure yourself. So Kenobi has a thing with Math 101 for the Yu-Gi-Oh section of our channel where he breaks down the math of knowing how to deck build. I really feel like this is how you build yourself and understand where you are as a Yu-Gi-Oh player. This is just an idea. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Oh well. Appreciate you guys tuning in. YG baby.